I do have a blank page, but I've already had to scratch one broadcast. And today maybe have to be a scratch day. But listen, if it gets started, if we get going, let's go ahead and make it do what it do. I have been out of bed, in bed, back out of bed, all of that. It's just one of those days, but that's why you set your days and your weeks up so that you can have those days, because those days are going to come. Restarting, resetting, hey, all of it. We're human, and there's this thing called human behavior. Like right now, I'm not on every platform. This is our only one. So we're hanging out over here on Periscope. But of course, it's after this, we're going to turn it into a podcast, and it'll be on all your favorite platforms, and y'all can take a listen. But I like hanging out over here and engaging it and making this a great two-way conversation. But still, it is kind of my first thoughts of the morning. Frog still in my throat, one eye open. It started out that way, but we said come spring, we wanted to do something a little bit different. Celsius is coming in. We want to do something a little bit different, at least kind of be some part of the day. I mean, it's like 9 o'clock right now for me. And yes, I've been going 2 hours. Woke up, had my clarity moment, my grateful moment. I've had my business moment. Delegation, that's the word today. We're going to delegate. I had to delegate some things because I'm getting ready to not reopen. Well, I guess reopen a part of my business. I'm getting ready to put my hire sign back out and doing some workshops and things like that. Some camps, boot camps, all of that, speaking engagements, all of that. And I was getting overwhelmed. We talked about that yesterday, about being overwhelmed and being in this season and looking at your routine and feeling like you're stuck in a rut, right? And I just talked about that yesterday. So to act on all of that, to act on where I realized I was and where I realize I want to go. I really want to go there. And it's not, I don't want to get there by happenstance. I don't want to get there by trial and error. I want to get there as a professional, right? Doing this time around, I've got to be all pro because one, I've got the experience. I'm definitely worthy. I'm intelligent enough. These are the things that I'm getting ready to demonstrate for people, the things that I know, and it's mine, right? I keep coming to it. The opportunity keeps presenting itself. And so this time around, I'm saying, yes, I'm going all in. And I'm like, okay, well, if you really want to be pro, what do pros do? They delegate. This is not a DIY, certainly not a do-it-yourself. This has to be done at a certain level. So I'm putting together my team, my I team, right? Team. There's no I in team. The I is actually in front of team, right? So I'm putting together my I team. And so I ended up having to delegate the automation process. Like I want much of this, in order for me to do it this time around, it has to be automated, right? So I am putting together, and I'm not putting together, I delegated. I was like, y'all, I'm sitting over here, I can count, you can't even count the number of devices I had on my bed yesterday trying to get this stuff done. And I'm like, I'm in podcasting, I'm good at streaming, I'm good, I can multitask, and I don't even like to multitask. So yesterday, I pulled out the laptop. I got the Chromebook. I was like, wait a minute, I do have a Chromebook. But then all of this, still trying not to go to the desktop. So I made the call to get somebody to come and work on my Mac, which is a huge thing, which is a huge desktop, which has really, it takes your creativity to a whole other level. Great morning. Hey, contradictions. So I've got somebody going to work on the Mac because I need to go back into the workspace because the laptop, honey, I've been in the kitchen, I've been on the sofa, I've been back in the bed, and I'm like, okay, and then I need to head out into these streets. And then I realized today, this morning, that the kickoff date that I chose, or it chose me, is Memorial Day weekend. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? But then that's my behavior. That's always been my routine. One of the reasons that people are asking me if I have anything coming up is because I normally would have something around a holiday, because that particular customer that's always saying, that they can't come because they got to work, they got to do this, they got to do that. And normally I have always told people, listen, if you're ever going to push out some content, push it out around the holidays because that's when people are binging. That's when people are, have time. People travel. Like say for instance, this event, if I wanted to get people from out of town, everybody's coming to Atlanta for one reason or another for Memorial Day weekend. Why not have an open house? I've got a weekend of open house that's going to happen on the 26th and the 27th. Haven't said that out loud yet, but think about how many people are going to be in this city. If you ever wanted to get your networking done beyond your core city, locale, and all those kinds of things, do it during a holiday. People always ask me why would I used to have events always during the Christmas break, because people who are telling everybody about you, they have a larger audience. You have a larger audience. So I always say if you're doing things, your downtime can't be the same downtime as your customer, right? There's nothing worse than going and looking for something and then, you just can't do it. All right, so I talked about delegating. I'm going to try to come up with some other words to write on there. And we could just talk about delegating. Like, what trust? Trust is always, let me write that down. I'm going to write that in all caps too. Because, well, we said I team, so trust everyone around me. But trust, when it comes to delegating, first thing you must trust is that the person knows more than you. That's the only reason you're going to delegate. And not know more than you about everything, but they know more than you about that one thing that you're struggling with, right? So like I was over here, I'm struggling. I already know what's my number one flaw: follow up. So you can tell me, call me, email me, hey, let's talk, let's go to lunch. If you don't get me in that one moment, my follow up is absolutely horrible. I'm not good at it, right? So I have somebody I've delegated follow up to. They go through my emails and like, oh, this looks like an opportunity. Let me make sure she knows about this. Oh, let me go ahead and respond to that because I know how she will respond to that. You set that up with a person. Like I have a person who steps in right there for me because I'm horrible at that. Last night, in fact, early yesterday morning, I saw a press release of an event. I'm like, oh my God, I got to make a decision on this in the same day. Then I saw a reminder email for an event that happened last night. And I'm like, oh man, I took on all this other stuff. I didn't keep an eye on that, and I'm like, and it was early in the morning. So I was like, oh, maybe later in the day I'll be prepared. I could go. And then I hadn't finished up my work when it came time to shut it down. And I'm like, okay, well, wait. Remember we talked about the frustration? I'm going to put frustration on here because that's part of it, right? So I was frustrated trying to do that other process. And I said, okay, I got to delegate this. And I literally handed it off in time enough for me to go. But then by that time, I was exhausted. I'm going to put down exhausted, y'all, because that's how we know. That's how we know it's time for change. We become exhausted. I was like, because I had become so frustrated and I'm running from one device to another trying to figure out which one I should do this task on. And then by the time I thought about, let me just delegate this, then finally I could breathe. Because, what do we talk about when you release something? Let it go. When you let it go, how good that feels. So I felt good. I was like, I could breathe. And I was like, oh, I could actually take a nap. I still didn't take a nap because my adrenaline was so crazy from being frustrated and trying to get it done. Even though I handed it off, we had to go back and forth and communicating what it is I was trying to accomplish so they could take it and run with it, right? And they definitely took it and ran with it. And they were like, automation underway, da-da-da-da. I'm getting notifications. We're doing this, we're doing that. It'd be ready, we're ready. Oh, but then then it came this upsell. I'm like, okay, I do want that. Not right now. I can't process it at this moment right now, right? So then I had this event and I'm like, me, I'm always prepared to run to the confidence corner, get dressed and go. But then I'm like, ooh, I've got this, that would be great on the blogging side. But then, no, I can't because I've got to get this done. I'm beholden to that in 7 days, in at least 7 days. Let's just say at least 7 days, in less than 7 days. Well, in about 10 days it's going to happen, but in 7 days, I'm already on the countdown. And remember I said 10 days, but I'm trying to get into 7 days because me, I got those 3 scratch days and today feels like one of those scratch days because I've got to shut the systems down in order to let the guy come in and work on. Well, I can still work, but there's another part of me trying to delegate this part, and it's like, and you feel that I literally just put my head in my hand. It's overwhelming. Overwhelming. But you know what happens when I get overwhelmed? I can't even write, y'all. Overwhel. And that's not even right. There's an M in there somewhere. MED. Okay. When I get overwhelmed, I know I can turn back to that page in my journal where we talked about being overwhelmed. And right now, I'm only overwhelmed with the thoughts of the thing because I've delegated it all. But even in delegating, it was so funny because I was told to go and review, because once I've handed it off, I have to review all these different steps. And what you have to be mindful of, when I went to go look at it, I'm like, oh, I would have those kinds of capabilities. And then I started trying to bring these new capabilities into the current opportunity. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's taking on too much. You don't have to do that right now. One of the ways I deal with being overwhelmed and frustrated and exhausted and trusting and trying to delegate is, remember what we said the other day, what's the priority right now? What has to happen like right now? That is always how you bring yourself back in focus. That's how you always quiet the noise, shut out the noise, go into your thought process, get into your thoughts is what has to be done right now? What's the now? And so the now part, and I had to talk about this to my assistant that I'm handing this off to, is here's what has to be done right now. Right now, we need to get these things on the calendar, and we need to be able to process payment, right? And while I'm looking at this beautiful system that's being built, and it has all these other capabilities, those are not capabilities that are needed right now. And the same thing, when you're feeling that way, and this is the thing that's manipulating your emotions right now. What is that thing? The thing that has you upset with right now. What is that thing right now? What has to be done like right now? Well, you will always say, well, right now I want to feel better, right? Hey, Sparkle came in. Sparkle always comes in and boom, invites followers. You want to feel better, but I'm that person. I can try and put the feelings aside. I know they're important, but what's the priority? What is the priority right now? The priority right now is that in 10 days, in 7 of those days, we have to be constantly talking about this new venture. And it's basically a rebranding. And even though, and it's not so much, it's a rebranding. Because I want to use a different link. It's only a rebranding because I'm trying to infuse a different language or into the conversation. I don't want to call it a boot camp. I don't want to call it a workshop. I have a different language for this thing. And I know, being an influencer in this, the minute I start to speak this language, everybody's going to want a full translation. And so I need to work on the translation. So there's no way I could work on translating the thing and automating the process and building the system and designing the brand. Can't do it all. You can't do it all. We can, but the person at the end of the day, the person at the end of the day becomes the person that can't get out of bed. I kept trying to figure out how to bring in that end of the day thing because I don't like the end of the day. I don't like the end of the day, y'all, because that means that's it. That's it for those opportunities of that day. But the person at the end of that day is the person who can't get out of bed the next day. So I'm always trying to head off these things, ward off these things. I'm always trying to make sure that doesn't happen. I didn't want to get to the end of yesterday frustrated, overwhelmed, exhausted because I would not have been able to get out of bed. Because guess what I'm beholden to about getting out of bed? I'm beholden to doing a podcast, right? And even though I would have come in and told you guys, okay, y'all, I'm doing this from under the cover. I don't want to keep continuously coming to you talking about being frustrated. I'm like, listen, the way I handled that yesterday, I delegated. The thing that was frustrating me the most was trying to choose a system. And I think 1 or 2 of the people that I even asked about systems is in here. Yesterday, I posted on my timeline, hey guys, what system are you using for your calendar? And I got all these different feedbacks. But then I went to the professional and I said, okay, here's what I'm hearing people are using. which is best for what you think I'm doing. And they said, well, guess what? There's a third option. Remember I told y'all the other day when I got ready to become a publisher? Hey, artist, when I got ready to become a publisher and I spent 2 years doing all this research. And then when I got ready to publish, that lo and behold, the entire publishing arena had changed. The same thing with this. It's like, okay, we're talking about software, but then guess what? They were like, hey, listen, there's a new third option. And I can't even pronounce it. I hadn't heard it. I've seen it because she texted to me, but I haven't heard it said. So I don't want to repeat it right now because I'm probably going to pronounce it wrong because it's using all kind of consonants. And if y'all hadn't listened to me long enough, I have something called consonant deletion. Okay. So I can't figure out phonetically how that is, how I'm to say it. But when I launch this rebranding, you're going to say like, oh, she must be using that software. Yes. Or that app. Most people call it an app, but it's not even an app because it works across all platforms. That makes it a full-on software. An application software. Okay. Same things. Tomato, tomato. Well, actually, no, not quite. As I take a sip, wet my whistle, my organs, and all that kind of thing. So today I was able to get out of bed because I headed off the frustration. I headed off becoming overwhelmed. I brought in trust. Hey, there's a person I trust that knows how to get this stuff done. You know, as long as I can click their link, I'm good. So I was able to delegate. And let me look at the time on this. There is no way. This thing is saying 47. You know what I think is going on? I think it's counting. There's no way. Let me see what's going on over here. There's no way we have been in here. I can't even. It says 16. That one's saying 47. Oh, so my recording is actually including something else because that's saying 40 minutes and this is saying 17. So I'm looking at the app that I'm actually recording the podcast on, and it's saying 48 minutes. And that I don't understand because this is only saying 17 minutes. So it looks like I'm going to have to do some editing. So good morning, Glory. So guys, let me tell you also, we want to shout out today being Friday, one of our supporters for How to Get Out of Bed, Natural Soap by Zakia, is in Dallas, Texas, this weekend. So follow them if you want to, because you've heard it on the podcast, because you've probably seen her online. Really exciting that she's going to be broadcasting this weekend, and she needs us in her audience. She's going to be demonstrating what it is to bring your business online, to launch a product online, to maintain, to engage with their customers. She's going to be doing a demonstration on Sunday. Right now, she is at a Soap Guild conference. Is that how much time left? No, this is counting up 18 minutes. But the thing that I'm recording this on for my podcast is saying 49 minutes, which means that it's been on, it's been recording. So I don't know what I don't know what all that's recording. So I better check that because apparently it is, it's restarted. It's continuing something else. So 20 minutes, maybe 20 minutes to something else. All right. So we're just 20 minutes. So definitely, check out Soap Lady Z is her hashtag, Natural Soap by Zakia. And again, really excited because this weekend she is in Texas at a conference, and she's going to be demonstrating the use of Periscope in your business, Periscope in your live streaming, Periscope and engaging with your customers. So, and if you want to check it out, go to Natural Soap by Zakia. When you get to the website and you're like, oh, I'm excited about all this, and you decide to buy some soap because you like to luxuriate in Natural Soap by Zakia like I do, or like we do in my household, you should use your discount code Dryerbuzz. Use your discount code Dryerbuzz. And again, much thanks and shout out to Zakia and Natural Soap by Zakia for supporting the podcast. All right, so how to get out of bed? We're talking about delegating today. And you know what? And I think this should be a short podcast because when you've delegated, like I don't have a whole lot to rant about. See, and this is the takeaway I want you to have. I don't have a whole lot to rant about because I delegated. I literally delegated. And my success on this project that I'm working on is more guaranteed that it's truly going to happen because I put a professional on it, right? I went to a pro. In order for me to go pro and have the level of professionalism that I want when I return to this arena that I'm going back into, um, can y'all tell the calm? Can you tell the calm? Like, because I usually have a whole lot of passion about trying to fix things. I don't have it to fix this morning because I delegated yesterday. So at the end of the day, instead of falling asleep here in the midst of all the books and the devices and trying to, like, I couldn't even get a nap in because I mean, like, right now when I end this, I'm going back in the kitchen. I'm going to fix me some of those 5-minute eggs that we did yesterday. Y'all might have seen me do that. Okay, yeah, I interrupted the podcast for the egg. I'm gonna go fix some eggs. I'm gonna just get I'm going to chill, y'all, because there's nothing I can't even do much. Well, there's things I got some writing to do, but as far as working on the project, I delegated it. So all I now have to do is wait. All I have to do is wait, and I can't wait until I'm going to log in and I'm going to see all of this automation, but I got to go work on I got to go finish translating this language that I want to use. And don't tell me people don't do that because I just watched Game of Thrones on it. Y'all are okay with a whole lot of stuff, right? So, but I want to use a particular language, going back to business. So I'm working on translating. So when I say this, I mean this. When I say that, because I'm going to be curating some content. I'm going to be building behaviors. I'm going to be changing the way you do things. I'm going to be presenting some newer opportunities. All of that, and I'm so excited about it. And basically, you guys already know, I'm opening a business clinic on the 26th and the 27th, which will be which are the first day. You already know why I chose the 27th. But then lo and behold, that's Memorial Day, so that's confirmation. Remember, we did the podcast about confirmation. That's how you get through. You looking down the tunnel, you look for that light at the end of the tunnel as confirmation that there's a way for you to make it through. That's confirmation because I have always had something around the holiday and a lot of people say, people are not going to do anything. Yes, they will, because that's the only time that they have. That's the only time that they have, and people will be out and about and accustomed to. And listen, believe it or not, there are a lot of people who want to get away from family during that time. So, and not only that, there's so many people coming to Atlanta. I can't tell you how many times I get a message, I'm in Atlanta, I'm coming to Atlanta, I want to do this, I want to do that. And it's just that I haven't had things on the calendar in the wild. I haven't had things like, I normally would host a monthly networking of some sort, and particularly a breakfast, something around food. So to launch this on Memorial Day, and not only that, the time that I'm planning on doing this, they'll be able to come, enjoy it, get to the next level, go home and enjoy their family. So I'm even more excited. And that's going to fuel, let me write that down, fuel, F-E-U-L. That's going to fuel me and more in what I'm trying to do because I got confirmation. I'm going to write confirmation down. Because I like that. We're at a point now where we're rewriting, we're pulling in some of these other elements that have been part of other broadcasts. Like confirmation should be part of each, because at the beginning of the day, I don't know, at the beginning of the day, I mean, you want confirmation. I think we all running around here wanting confirmation. I think a lot of us want some type of confirmation, want validation. Just did I write that down? Validation. We want to feel that we are valid. We want to feel that we're putting our energy into things that are worthy of us, And unfortunately, the thank yous don't come, the awards and the incentives and all those, they don't come all the time. So you need to know what is your confirmation, And I'm not saying that you have to have something alternatively, but you need to learn. We have to learn that we need to start seeking all of these things that we seek externally. We've got to learn how to seek them internally, right? So that nobody else can have that kind of control. Oh, control. Nobody else can have, and control can be negative and positive. That nobody else can have that kind of control over us, because that's a sad time. And I spent some time in that place, especially. Let me tell you, like even in caregiving, there's no hero cookie, there's no reward. In confirmation, validation, control, all of that is internal, and that's why I started doing How to Get Out of Bed on the podcast, simply because when you wake up in the morning and it's like just you within yourself, before you have put on your face, your armor, your mask, all of that. Can you sit well with yourself? If you can sit well with yourself, then everybody else will know how. Right? Because you're going to dictate it. If you sit well with yourself in your own mind, in your own spirit, in your own body, then everybody else will do it, right? But when you need this confirmation from over here and validation from over there, you're going to get to the end of the day frustrated, exhausted, overwhelmed, no fuel left, no confirmation, no validation, no control. And you guess what's going to happen the next morning? You will not be able to get out of bed. You will not be able to get out of bed. Right? When you are not present, because you're not present in something because it's not perfect. There's a book called Present Over Perfect. When you are not present in it because it's not perfect, by who? Now, if you can say by me, because that's how I want it. I love all that ownership. Let's talk about that, because the one thing in delegating is you don't want to lose ownership, right? Right? When I signed that contract this morning, I made sure through all those lines that I maintained the ownership of all those things that I am now delegating, right? But when you can sit well with yourself. When you sit well with yourself, you sleep well with yourself. You wake well with yourself. You get out of bed well with yourself. You go through your day well with yourself. Have you ever seen? I was sitting here this morning. Sheryl Sandberg of Facebook, formerly Google. Okay, all these apps. She's been on all these apps, right? Sheryl Sandberg is in the midst of all this stuff that we're doing, except for over here on Twitter and Periscope. Okay. But she was on CBS because Facebook thinks that they have a good media partnership with CBS. So they think that they can go over there and influence the narrative by going to CBS, because CBS, even though CBS does give them a little pushback, because Cheryl got a little pushback this morning, but I noticed that when the guy was talking to her, Gail lowered her head and pretended like she was reading. That's a trigger for me. It's a trigger for me because I remember one time I was talking to a female, and the male that she was with, who's normally rude to her, proceeded to be rude with me. And I didn't check him because I didn't want to embarrass her. But then when I looked to her for confirmation, because I could have brought her and myself out of that situation, right? When I looked to her for confirmation, I'm like, wait a minute, she lowered her head like, oh, I'm going to let this moment happen, because if I don't let it happen with you, it's going to happen with me. I'm like, well, you know what? I don't have to be up in the midst of this, right? So I looked to my left where my daughter was standing, and my daughter was already on ready. I know he's not talking to my mama like that. We about to set it off up in here. And my daughter was like ready. And I was like, I can't. First of all, I'm not going to act like this in front of my daughter. But she done already peeped the fact that this man is a bit disrespectful, right? And her thing is, I know my mama finna let him have it. We finna set it off, right? But I'm like, no. Because my girl, who I thought was everything, done lowered her head, meaning that she's familiar with this tone. And I instantly became sad for her, right? Because I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, she's familiar with this tone. This is familiar to, I'm like, sis, this is familiar to you, right? And I took my daughter, I just looked politely, not even polite. I wasn't even polite about it. I turned to my daughter. I said, let's go. And we walked away. And she's like, Mom, we what? We gonna go? Because, and I'm like, listen, no, we're not gonna do it in here. We're not going to do it in here because we were actually in a very public place where my girl was, she got to speak. She got to sign her books and all this kind of stuff, but we already know because I was already surprised he was there with her because, my opinion of him already was not one of any kind of stature. I'm like, I don't even consider. He didn't even, I'm like, I can't believe she rolled up in here with that. But, because I know I already knew his behavior and it was going to come out. And I was like, because I even, on my way over there, I was like, man, I hope she's by herself. She's not. Okay. Told my daughter, let's go. We're not even about to support this. Right. So we left because I'm like, it's fraudulent. It's fraudulent. It's fraudulent. Right. And you done triggered something to me about to make me set it off. My daughter about to set it off with me. We're just going to go. We're going to go. Right? Because there's nothing I can do here. There's nothing I can do. I can't fix this. So when I watched Gail lower her head this morning, while homeboy was speaking in that tone to Cheryl beyond journalism, I was like, oh, she done triggered. She done took me back. I'm like, I can't believe she did that. But I was like, okay. Yeah, and and like, don't tell me you were reading your notes. Don't tell me you were listening to the producer, this, that, and the other, because you bowed out and left her in that, and that's just not. And especially the fact that they were talking about the relationship that is now going on with men and women in this Me Too environment, how it's impacting us in the workplace and so forth, and workplace and public places and things like that. Men that are now cautious, men that are overly cautious, women who are cautious and triggered, all these things. That's what the conversation. And then yet and still, you in that moment exhibit those very things for all of the public to see. And if they didn't see it, I tweeted about it. So now everybody like, yeah, I kind of sense that too, right? Because we have to address these things. I'm an in the present kind of person. Can we address this in the moment? And I know there's some people like that day I had to say, okay, we're not going to address this in this moment. It's not that moment because I know I don't want that on her mind. And even probably at this point, about maybe 10 years later, we still have to encounter each other, and it's still there. That moment is still now between she and I, right? Because we're women. We join each other at the womb. We're women, and that moment is still there. And things could be different had it not been for that moment. And I never asked for an apology. I never asked for an explanation. I'm like, I'm sad that was a trigger for you, and your place to go was to ball up in yourself right there in front of me, and leave me to deal with this dude. And I'm like, I'm not gonna do it. It's not my. It's my place, but I'm well within myself. Okay, there's nothing to see here. I can't fix this. And so we went on about our day. But all of that energy I had to pour into that, I poured it into other things, right? So you got to be able to walk away. And I'm not even gonna write that down because I don't even want to. I'm just saying that's just some advice. But trust, all the trust was gone. Just is. I'm well within myself. 33 into this podcast, guys. We're going to go ahead and get this thing wrapped up. Only thing left for me to reiterate, recycle through some of it. We're going to go ahead and look at our list and see if we can go from the top to the bottom, from the bottom to the top. And then we're going to figure out what our exercise is going to be today. So starting out, I wrote down delegate. First thing about delegating, you got to trust who you're going to delegate it to, okay? And we already know, if you don't know what trust looks like and feels like and what it really is, go find the Trust Podcast. We talked about frustrated. One of the reasons you got to delegate some stuff is because you have become frustrated or exhausted or overwhelmed. You're trying to find your fuel. There is nothing better than fuel than trust, right? Confirmation, validation, control. Let's start with confirmation and validation, right? Stop looking for your confirmation and your validation in the wrong place. That's why I just said well within yourself. It starts within, right? Your confirmation is within. Control and ownership. When you are going to delegate, you still maintaining a level of control. If you feel like you're losing control, then you are delegating to the wrong person. If you feel like you're losing some ownership, then you're delegating the wrong pieces to the wrong people. And that's when you go back to your trust thing. Let me tell you, trust is something. Let me tell you, you feel it in every morsel of your body, your being, your mind, your soul, your heart, your spirit. You feel trust. Not only do you feel trust, you exhibit trust. Try being in a conversation with and one of the two people in the conversation or one of the many people in the conversation, and you're talking to somebody, you're trying to give them a delegate, and they know you don't trust. You see that, you exhibit it. It's an obvious thing. Trust and guilt. Those are obvious things. Like the young woman, a very sad story about the young 4-year-old that was missing. The entire time that the attorney called this press conference out in the damn parking lot, right? Trying to keep his client from looking guilty. The whole time he was standing there trying to give them the entire viewing public this scenario about this woman. The whole time he was talking, she was shaking her head no. And once somebody pointed it out, like, wait, but don't they say in body language that if an untruth is being spoken, you cannot react. You cannot not react. You have to react, right? The entire time he was standing in front of those cameras trying to deliver a particular narrative or scenario to relinquish her of any and all kinds of responsibility, she stood there shaking her head no. Unbeknownst to her, she was the whole entire time because he was standing there lying for his client. Lawyers, they have a way of which they say they're going to lie, right? Because they're well within their learned behavior to elongate scenarios that might not necessarily be true, because it's all about who can tell the story best. But I'm sorry, you should have left your client in her house where they murdered her child, because she is telling us on everything that you're saying, she's shaking her head no. Okay? So trust, y'all. I'm telling y'all, you can bank on trust. In fact, there are many banks out there that used to have trust in their name. It used to be called trust and loans and trust and savings and trust and trust and trust. The word trust, everybody wanted trust in their brand. It's not there anymore. Okay? So trust is, honey, let me tell you, I bank on trust each and every day. I-team. How did I break down I-team? I trust everyone around me. If I don't trust you, you're not going to be around me. There are no limits. Trust is 100% or none. It's taking or leaving. What is it? All or nothing. It's like I can half trust them. I don't do anything half. We can only trust them 25%. I don't know what the trust. I gotta have 100%. Trust is the one thing you should want and you should demand 100%, especially when it comes to delegating. Where was we going? I don't know. But I think trust, right? Because, y'all, we out of bed. But at the end of the day, if we ever talk about it at the end of the day, sit well within yourself. Because if you don't sit well within yourself, if you don't go through your day with trust, you're going to wake up tomorrow. You won't be able to get out of bed, and you're going to be sitting there waiting. Oh, I need Dryerbuzz for this podcast. Where's the podcast? I need to get out of bed. I don't want to wake up. I don't want to come on here and do how to get out of bed, trying to tell you how to undo yesterday. Notice that's a conversation we ain't ever had. We have never had how to undo yesterday, because guess what? Yesterday is done. I am never here to tell you how to undo yesterday. Yesterday is done. Now I'm going to tell you to be present in some things that you might have did yesterday. And I'm going to tell you always how to move forward. I will always be, you know how I'm going to tell you how to move forward? Because I've had to do it. I've had to do it. And yes, we do get off our square, but we do get back on it. We do definitely get back on it. All right, guys, I think we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Oh, exercise. So, think about that. Let's do that for our exercise today. Is where in your day Because we're not even dealing with all of our life. I ain't talking about the whole life semester. I'm talking about just today. Just today. Each hour from now on. Each engagement from now on. Think about the trust that you have in there. You know, you're going to go pay a bill. You're going to go use a system. You're going to use an app. You're going to go eat something. You're going, all of those things. How strong is the trust going on in your life, in your household, in the workplace? You know, we go in the workplace. You can't let this person see you do this. You can't let that person hear you say that. You know, you can't go. I know one thing in the workplace. It got to a point where even if I wanted to go out to lunch with the group, I didn't let nobody see me leave work with the group. I'll have them catch up with y'all. Because, you know, y'all be doing some things, right? Because they try to loop us all together, you know. And then I'm like, okay, the jobs that I have to do that like that, I don't want to be there. I'm always looking for the next, right? Try to get to that place, because I know we're thinking about it. I never thought, because one thing I've always heard, I never thought about it that day. Where in your today is their trust? That's the thing. Where is it and what is it? How much is it, right? How much of your life really are you having to live without trust? You got to go hang out. I got to go deal with this family member. I don't trust them. Oh man, she said Memorial Day is coming. Let me go put up my good jewelry because I do want the family to come over. You know, all of that, right? All of that. You'd be surprised. Because that's how we got here. You'd be surprised how many of us are operating each and every day. You know, you done call this person, you want them to do some work for you. You know, you done paid this deposit and you looking like, man, that said non-refundable deposit, right? And you're trying to find what you're searching for. That thing that you're searching for, you really need to talk to somebody. You're searching for trust. That's what you're searching for. Because see, in this thing, in this body, this human experience, we have something called a heart and a mind. And we think they work together, the heart, mind, and the soul. But they out here trying to, like, the mind don't trust the heart and the heart don't trust the mind. That is so true. Examine where we are, right? And the soul is like, look, I'm going to leave all y'all after a while. So I need this thing. And I'm the one got to go and be judged on the eternal, you know. So I'm going to need all this stuff to be copacetic. So that's why the soul is like, let me give the heart a little flutter to know that that's not a good situation. Let me give the mind a sense of wonder so that it'll know, oh, that's not a good situation, right? And then what the mind go, okay, I'm wondering, you know, gave me pause, but I'm gonna press play again, and the heart like fluttering like a mug, like this ain't right, and you still pushing through. We push through on the wrong things. It forces that force that you have. It's good in some things. We just use it too much for the wrong thing, right? Trust ain't something you do over and over. Like, okay, I'm going to try and trust you again. Why? It's just not there. That ain't something that you don't keep trying that. No, because you ain't got but so much of it. So for the rest of the day, our physical exercise is trust. Let's talk about, let me see, yesterday, our exercise was looking at our routines to see how much of it was planned or reactionary. That's what our exercise was yesterday. And mine didn't come out so well. I was reacting. The soul is the only thing free. Exactly. Yesterday, that's why I decided to go ahead and delegate, because as I was doing my exercise, too much of it was reactive. I wanted to do this. Oh man, I got to go learn how to do this. Dang, I got to go learn this. I got to refresh that. I got to get my mind right about this. And I'm like, listen, I got to delegate. That's why today I was talking about delegating. And when I delegated, because this thing is so important, but it's so important that I really needed to delegate it to a professional, because you know who I didn't trust in getting it done? Me. Because I know I would have been like, okay, I'm going to give myself another 30 days. Girl, you ain't got another 30 days. You got 7. And I'm like, okay, well, if I got 7, then I need to be working on something else. So let me get somebody working on this part. You got 7. And I got 30 seconds to tell you guys what I need you to do for me next. So that's our exercise for the day. Just take either, a semi-conscious look, a full-on conscious look, a subconscious look, or even at the end of the day, before you put your head to the pillow, was my day, did I trust everything that happened today? Because if you did not, guess what? You're not going to sit well with yourself. You're not going to rest well overnight. And then come tomorrow, you will not be able to get out of that bed. And it's the weekend. So that's one thing you want to do. And let me tell you, in my neighborhood, there's an amazing taste event happening tomorrow. So I trust that I got to get all this stuff done so I can go and enjoy my weekend. Shout out again to Natural Soap by Zakia, our supporters for how to get out of bed. Please go to naturalsoapbyzakia.com and get your soap for the week, for the month. Your lotions. She's coming out with some serums, but also watch for her to go live on Sunday. Zakia Ringo is her name on here. She's going to go live with her live soap school from Dallas, Texas, and she's going to do a demonstration, live streaming demonstration on how to use live streaming to launch your business. Something that she has successfully done in over 3 years, becoming not only a top seller soap, a top soap maker, a top soap seller, and top certified, to where she is actually presenting at this conference, a conference that she attended just 2 times, and now she has gone from the audience to the stage. So definitely we want to be there and support her. So please have your Periscope notifications on Sunday. If you're catching How to Get Out of Bed as a podcast, do know that we tape these live and interactive each morning. Each morning, use your hashtag Dryerbuzz to find it each and everywhere. If you want more, whatever platform you're on, there's more in the archives there. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Everybody, please go and have a great day. And you know, always, I got one more favor to ask you, and that is...
Go now to Dryerbuzz.com and follow @Dryerbuzz on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. It's all about the buzz.